Hey, beauties. Good evening to you. You know, when I was younger, I was either in prep school or high school. I can't recall, to be honest, but there was a subject that was taught. It was called mental ability. Today, we use more modern day term critical thinking skills, comprehension skills, which would be a part of it would probably be an element of critical thinking skills, not just comprehension skills, emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, maybe backed by intelligence quotient, what you call bright, having knowledge. When you say somebody brighty, man, the person bright because they're knowledgeable and they do well in their exams. So, and I am making mention of the whole mental ability because there is some sort of lacking where teaching that subject is concerned, whether you want to use a modern day, terminology, mental ability, or you want to use critical thinking skills, comprehension skills, emotional intelligence, backed by intelligence quotient, however it is that you would want to term it. The reality is that I think many Jamaicans are lacking that very fundamental ingredient. I am chuckling in my mind because I remember it some years ago when the very great Dudos was captured and, extradited and so on. And he went abroad, to pay his penance, let's put it that way. One respondent, when she was interviewed, and, they had on the dog, "We will die for Dudus." The lady said, "We will die for Dudus." You heard? Let me tell you, I laughed that evening. I laughed, I laughed, I laughed, I laughed. I said, what a serious situation, eh? It would have been so good to hear somebody die for a very mature, very meaningful cause that will help people, that will help her country, her community, make it great, make them proud. But she had made mention of that. And it was very hilarious in my opinion, and I laughed. And today, I suppose after the debate, I'm not sure what time it finished, but Minister Juliet Holness, why calling her Juliet? Juliet Holness, she came on the outside, she had her supporters, and it was like deja vu because I heard a respondent said we would die for her, and they had JLP women, some what they had on the shirt, like JLP women empowerment, something of the sort. And I said, what a very, I mean, I have no problem where that is concerned. I mean, one horse cannot run a race. Miss Wholeness, I'm sure she has accomplished great things that many people will not. That no one can take away from her, whether you like her, whether you do not like her. She has accomplished much great things. She's the wife of a prime minister. She's a house speaker. There are so many things that you can probably put beside her name that she has accomplished. And as a woman, I believe in women, genuine women empowerment, and I salute her where that is concerned. As a black woman, this is an educated woman, a knowledgeable woman in her field, a mother, a wife, a friend, I'm sure, an auntie, a cousin, a niece, whatever it is, she plays some role in the life of people in a positive way. And whether you, as I said, whether you like her or not, and when I'm saying that, I'm not saying that, because sometimes people will say that when they secretly don't like somebody. No, 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 I'm not saying it like that. I'm literally saying it genuinely and candidly, as a generalized statement. Whether you like her or not, she's still an accomplished woman. What she has accomplished, many women will not. Women will not be the wife of a prime minister, and they will not be a house speaker, and whatever other accomplishments she would have attained. I remember watching her online and was talking about a lot of the things that she has been doing from she was younger. I think she even taught at one point, if my memory serves me correctly, or something of the sort, something like that she did for a while. But she worked a number of jobs in the public sector field and so on and so on. But she has contributed to the country, and I want to salute her on that. However, I want people to understand that the comment made by Mark Goldin even if he is against women, let us say hypothetically that he's against women, that comment had nothing to do with trampling on women, tearing down women, because it could have been the flip side, my beautiful people, where she's a prime minister and her husband would be the House Speaker. And let us say things were given for them to be tabled, for them to be dealt with, and he didn't deal with them. He would have said the very same thing. He was saying the husband of a prime minister, we don't encourage that. We prefer when you have an independent personnel, because when you have these things, this sort of nepotism, especially in a close-knit situation like that, it poses problems and people are not held accountable. You know, he would have said the same thing. What you're going to say, he's against men? Would you have made that comment had the roles been reversed? He would have said the same thing. So people, I want us to reason with critical thinking skills, reason using mental ability. It has nothing to do with JLP, it has nothing to do with PNP. It has to do with what is presented on the table. If you present apples on the table, we really should not be having conversation about oranges unless oranges will be used as a solution to your problems. You have to speak about what is presented on the table. Jamaicans, we lack critical thinking skills. We lack that mental ability. That had nothing to do with tearing down a woman. It has, because as I said, if roles were reversed and she was a prime minister and he was a House Speaker and he had the same issues, or people would have been saying the same thing. They would have been talking about nepotism. It has nothing to do because it's husband and wife, and or he wants to tear down the wife of the prime. It has nothing to do with that. We have to learn how to reason with serious comprehension skills. Did we comprehend what he was talking about, beautiful people? He was talking about nepotism. It's not about the fact that she's female. How you know that he would have alluded to that. He was saying, that is why I don't want women to be in these positions. That is why he would have said something like that. Because when you have a woman there, this and that and the third would have happened. If he had said that, then you could have said he's tearing down women. He was not. Jamaicans, all you have to do is flip around the roles and say, if she was the prime minister and he was a House Speaker, and the same thing was happening, he would have said the same thing. Because they're connected to each other in marriage, what will happen is that he will not hold her accountable. And that is why he prefers when we use an independent person, even though it is incumbent upon the opposition to agree with who they put forward as the House Speaker. What I said became a spoke in the wheel of the People's National Party, because even the Prime Minister brought up some old videos of it. It's that they congratulated her and saluted her, sort of a thing. However, what they should have done is put a clause in there saying, all right, since Mrs. Dalrymple Filbert has demitted office and you have to put somebody interim, and you chose, you chose Mrs. Gillette Holness, because of the conflict of interest here, and which is very obvious, it's your wife, we will work with her for the moment in the interim, but I would prefer we table something and we have a discussion where we choose somebody who is independent, so that we have more accountability had, so that transparency is even better in a situation like that. Had they put that sort of disclaimer or clause in, then it would have been different. But because they didn't do that, then it kind of gives a sort of hypocrisy behind, what the PNP is really saying. But I understand the position that they would have been put in. It kind of is difficult that Mrs. Filbert, what's her name there, Dalrymple Filbert, resigned immediately. I suppose it was with immediate effect. They had to get somebody in. They chose Mrs. Holness. They had to just work with it. And I guess maybe it just eluded them. It left them, or or eluded them rather, from bringing it up and saying, all right, we're having a problem here. Two, you are allowed, to change your mind. You can, when you look into it, because people have been talking and saying, boy, this is nepotism, this is not right. There are two major positions and so on. But all in all, people, we have to use mental ability. He was not tearing down women. All right, guys, follow me on TikTok. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Share this.